All right, maybe it's just as well we didn't play the Joe Biden saying we're going to win Virginia soundbite.
Even it didn't want to play itself.
Oh, I did want to play the sad trumpet. Can't believe you tweeted a gif of a woman crying saying I'm broken and saying that's going to be me. Really? Really? Do you think I'm that delicate a flower?
Your fans were tweeting, Stephanie's going to need a paper bag. She's going to be hyperventilating.
Please.
Stephanie's going to need...
Please.
Stephanie. And I said...
Stop whining. Let's get to work. That's the difference. Oh, is there no election fraud now, Republicans? I don't hear anything. Oh, is our election integrity is intact now because you won? Is that how? Whiny little bitches.
Besides, you were broken a long time ago.
Yes. It's impossible to break me again. No, Doug, it's too late. You're Joe Biden now. It's fine.
Is the moment gone?
Yes. Okay.
Is it ever gone? Is it ever gone?
Ah, Lord. Okay. Yes, obviously, time for armchair analysis. Thankfully, we have multiple armchairs this morning. We have Bob Seska, Charlie Pierce, Malcolm Nance, and Carlos Alzraki all on the big show today to talk about Virginia, etc. So there's a lot of blame to go around. We were saying, Travis, before the show that the problem is Democrats do have to find a way to counter critical race theory. We think we don't have to because it's a complete lie. It's not being taught anywhere in Virginia. So you think like, oh, we don't need to address that. Clearly you do. Clearly Republicans are going to keep running on lies and boogity black and it. Thank you. Charlie Pierce said it. We'll talk to him in just a bit. But he said the next person who mentions Youngkin's brilliant education plan without mentioning that it was a pure race-baiting horse is going to bring out my inner Hulk. Ooh, I want to see Charlie Pierce's inner Hulk. This was race-baiting, period. Well, it's not about education.
Well, also, how do you run against something that's not real? Because in order to run against it, you have to acknowledge that it is real. So like, if they're saying,
the Democrats should have countered that he's going to ban unicorns and fairies more strongly. It's like, well, okay.
Who's going to come out and say, I'm going to ban unicorns and fairies? Because they're going to look and say, that idiot thinks unicorns and fairies are real.
Yes, that's exactly. There's the rub. But as Eric Bollert's brilliant piece on Monday said, the other thing that is always, Eric said, if Youngkin wins, the media will no smart part be, it's like a win for the media. Like they literally covered this, hate to say uncritically, but they repeat Republican lies without saying critical race theory is not taught anywhere in Virginia or anywhere else.
Correct. No.
So they're so rooting for, the horse race and meanwhile, this is what happens every time there is a one party in the White House. Yes, in Virginia, the other party wins. So it's, again, I'm not panicking. Stop panicking. We've got to use this to motivate us to move forward in 2022. It's just...
what you're saying about media coverage too, if the media would have done their job and said critical race theory is not a thing,
right?
Then that takes it off of Terry McAuliffe to have to acknowledge it. It's the same with what we're dealing with in the Build Back Better. They're not pointing out that Republicans aren't doing a damn thing with this negotiation.
Right.
They're just talking about infighting.
Right. And the coverage, exactly. Well, first of all, I do think Terry McAuliffe should punch Joe Manchin in the basket if he happens to run into him.
You know what? You're rooting for that for
allegedly,
really.
Theoretically. But I was like, really? Joe Manchin, you had to have a press conference the day before the Virginia vote, right?
Yeah.
So, of course that was a factor, I think. But you're right. It's the way the media covers it, the sausage being made, the what's the word? What the vote count is, what the number is, and not that 100% of Republicans are against all of it, right? It's going to get done. Biden's ratings are going to go up. I mean, the fact that he has gotten so many shots in arms and checks in the bank, the media really hasn't covered that. So Biden's approval rating is no surprise. They covered everything as if it's a disaster.
No, they cover, like I said, they cover the fight. They don't cover. It's one thing to say they're fighting about this. It's another thing to say they're fighting over child care. They're fighting over, senior care.
The Republicans are not doing anything for anyone. They're against absolutely everything.
That too.
But, as Mark Warner said, yes, it would have helped if we could have gotten this done before the election. But one of my dumb friends, you know who you are, Don't you hate when you do this for a living and your friends try to bait you into a conversation? I'm like, I'm busy.
Every night,
But
my
he
friend
blamed
Brian
Nancy
does that.
Pelosi. I'm like,
What?
I'm sorry. It's Nancy Pelosi's fault that Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are against what 98% or 99, percent of Republicans and 70% of the American people are for. I'm like, what?
No.
Okay. I didn't even respond. I do this for a living. I don't have time for this. I was going to do something snarky, but I didn't.
Tune in tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to find out my thoughts.
But I hate everyone. Well, you said it yesterday, the trend lines. I mean, unfortunately, I think this critical race thing is the thing that at the end, I mean, and Joy Reid made a great point, too. The Democrats have got to get better at, what's the word?
Framing.
Passionately defending people of color. You know, he dropped the Toni Morrison thing at the bomb at the end. But, you know, in terms of motivating our base, I think there are in some quarters, Democrats are too afraid to lose that white suburban vote.
Right.
But we should have just called racist horse from the get, right? And go, this is racist bull.
Well, when they were polling people coming out yesterday, they were asking what's the issue for you. Number 2 issue was education. Education's a broad subject.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily, that doesn't just mean critical race theory. That's also parents who have had their kids at home with them for a year where they were educating them. And there's a lot of people.
And the sole reason we're still where we are with COVID is Republicans.
Yeah.
And Trump, it's not, oh my God. I mean, it's really, Catherine talking about in the media. Anderson Cooper just asked if Terry McAuliffe lost because the Democratic Party is too far left.
No.
Terry McAuliffe is a centrist. Our president's a centrist. And centrists are blocking popular policies from passing in Congress. Just cover it fairly. Cover, you know, have you seen anyone cover the percentage of Americans that are for each and everything in these bills, which would be considered liberal, I guess, right? They're not.
Can I say one issue I take with that tweet you just read?
Yes.
Don't call our president a centrist. Build Back Better is not centrist. That is
Well, that's what I'm saying. These are the most progressive
is
policies that we've ever put forward, but they are wildly popular with the American people. So how about we just stuff it with the labels, right? This is... Rude Pundit checked it. He said, Youngkin won because he lied repeatedly and knowingly. It's that simple. If he'd told the truth about what's being taught in Virginia schools, he would have lost. And instead of plainly calling it a lie, the media debated the levels of truth in it, which they always do with both sides. Thank you. Eric Bollert said, Dems have been down with a new president before. Virginia governor when GOP 8 months into Obama's first term. Midterms were then bad with Obamacare backlash, etc. Challenge now is the uncontrollable lying, misinformation, conspiracies being successfully trafficked by the GOP. And he said, question is, how did Dems counter with it also becoming a fact-free party?
Well, it's also
this is the problem, is we don't fight the same way, but we also don't want to become them and just become complete liars. I mean, but I guess there was no other way to counter this than to point out repeatedly that Glenn Youngkin was lying.
Right, but when you have a party that's willing to believe that John F. Kennedy Jr. is going to show up in Dallas, Texas on election day,
oh my God,
you
on the grassy knoll,
if you can convince them that that is a real thing that could possibly happen, critical race theory is not that hard of a sell.
They're not. I know they're not. There's something in my eye. I'd just like to say
she's having a stroke.
I don't think I am. What was I saying? Yes, I mean that's a small faction, but yes, that is Exhibit A.
Right,
oh my God, we have to talk to Malcolm Nance. I mean, it's not even extremists anymore. There's a percentage of just crazy people in this country. So
critical race theory
I love that people were debating. Do they get that JFK was a Democrat and very liberal, and if he was going to run, he would have been a Democrat? Yeah. It's like, right. Also, he's dead. He's dead since 1999.
But if some of them are willing to believe that, it's not a hard lift on critical race theory.
But they're waiting and dealing. Like, that's where he's going to come back, where his dad was shot to death. I don't even understand. Announced that he's going to be Trump's, what is the thing?
I thought
Trump's
he was opening
vice
the Rolling
president,
Stones concert.
and then Trump was going to step down and become something, God of gods or something, and then and then what? JFK is going to pick Flynn, something. I don't.
To be the vice president.
It's too crazy. And then they're like, oh, JFK Jr. didn't show up, but it's going to be tonight at the Rolling Stones concert. How did that go? Did it happen? No? Didn't also happen?
He didn't open the Rolling Stones? I was busy watching election coverage. I was not checking out the Rolling Stones concert in Dallas last night. I'm sorry,
yes,
Steph.
Mick Jagger apparently was going to introduce him.
Going to endorse him?
Something. Jesus.
He did some good drugs. Allegedly.
And apparently there were other dead people that came back that the people QAnon said they saw? Robert Williams and some other people showed up?
Oh, yeah, they just randomly went up to people on the street and said, hey, are you Robin Williams? Come back to help us.
Right.
What is wrong with them?
Wow. Okay. Norm Ornstein said, I wish this Virginia race would lead to serious soul-searching and self-reflection by mainstream media who referred to Youngkin's race-baiting lies on critical race theory as clever strategy, but it won't. I mean, we're going to have to do this ourselves, Travis. We are not going to get any help from the mainstream media about Biden's approval ratings. It's like, let's take Afghanistan, a policy that 80% of Americans were for getting out of Afghanistan, a disastrous Trump withdrawal plan, making a deal with the Taliban and blah, 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 right?
You seem to imply there was a plan.
Because the end was messy, which it was never going to be any other way.
Yeah.
The media turned that into another, it's a debacle for Joe Biden, right? I mean, it's insane that we are at 80%. We went from almost 0 to 80% shots in arms, right?
Yeah.
Checks in people's bank accounts, turn the economy around, stock markets at record highs. Remember when that was like, they reported breathlessly on that under Trump? It's okay.